If you're a DIY musician, then you've probably wondered, what are the best revenue sources that I should focus on, that I should spend my time building so that it can actually lead to a stable foundation financially for me as a musician? Well, a lot of musicians have been told like 800 different things that could build a revenue stream for their music business. But what if there was only four that you really needed to master? And if you really mastered these four, I think you could honestly have a music business that survives all the ups and downs that you may see in the future. I mean, think about COVID. When that happened, there were many musicians who were just reliant on one source of income, playing live shows. And when that went away, it wiped out a lot of bands that were completely dependent on that kind of stuff. I mean, I felt the burn of that whenever it first went away. I was right in the middle of releasing an album. We were touring on it and all this kind of stuff. So I could see how it's like, whoa, if people didn't have these other revenue streams, this could have wiped them out completely. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you the four revenue streams that if you build those up, you will build that stable table for your music business. And so that way you can actually have sort of a future-proofed music business. So stay locked in. We're going to go deeper on this through these four topics now. So the first thing that we need to think about is, what is your core product? And how can you create an offer around that core product? So you might be asking, Dax, what is a core product? A core product is fundamentally that item. And by the way, this can shift depending on album release cycles, or it may be something that's, hopefully, in my opinion, the best ones are the things that sort of transcend album cycles. But it's a piece of merch or some kind of item that they have to purchase, and they being your fans, that they have to purchase to be basically into the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, for a lot of metal artists, it's like the band t-shirt. You gotta get the band t-shirt to be initiated into the world of that particular band. It's just like a rite of passage to do that. But there's more creative ways that we can do this, right? You can use more branded pieces of clothing. Let's say if you have a particular persona that has a specific, stage outfit, maybe there's a version of one of your outfit pieces that you can get wholesale and sell at your merch table so that people can sort of feel like they're a part of the stage show as well. You want to create some kind of product that reinforces a bit of FOMO, to be honest, so that your fans are kind of like, oh wait, I consider myself a fan of yours. How come I don't have that? I need to have that. If I'm a fan, I need to have that, right? That's the kind of stuff that we want to create. We want to create an offer that sort of is reinforced culturally, not really by you. You don't want to, it's okay to mention, yeah, we've got a lot of people that kind of just feel that like this is like the item to have in the community, and so everyone's sort of got one now. You could do that kind of stuff, to kind of reinforce this social proof, but you don't have to really do it. If you're doing this right, you just sell that core product offer based on the value and how good it is, and then you at least focus on it enough so that a majority of your audience has it, so that they can all sort of reinforce it themselves. You want the audience reinforcing that culturally within your band or your project, right? You don't want to be the one always like, okay, you don't have you don't have the shirt. I know you have one of our shirts, but you don't have the shirt. So if you don't have the shirt, you're really not cool. No one wants to do that, right? You want to have it be a very welcoming environment from you. And if there is any sort of, let's say, like, pressure to go get that merch item, you kind of want it to come from them seeing everybody else and then internally going, oh, I just need that. If everyone else, I like this stuff, so if everyone else has this, I gotta have this. All right, and then the other thing that you want to consider with this core product offer is that it's really called a core product offer. Sometimes it's called a hero offer for a reason, because this is the thing that in your email list or your text SMS list, this is the very first offer that should be shown to them. And this is the offer that's supposed to be that low barrier to entry to get them into your your fandom, so to speak. Now, that doesn't mean it has to be low priced, but it has to be something that's an easy decision, right? So if it's going to be 100, 150 bucks, they better be getting 100, 150 bucks worth of stuff in return. Because if what they're getting is more valuable than the price that you're charging, it can make sense and the offer can work, because the higher the numbers, the less sales you need, because it's a higher margin. But that's a conversation for another day. The whole point is you want to drive everyone to this core offer so that you increase the likelihood of it sort of being like, oh yeah, we've got this, hey. And when two fans are at a show or online and they share like, oh, I have that shirt, oh, I have that shirt too. And then everyone starts taking pictures of their shirts in the comments, and all kinds of good kind of social community building happens from that right there. Now think about it like this. It's mid-priced. And again, that's sort of relative depending on the market, but it's mid-priced. So it's maybe anywhere from $50 to $100, maybe a little bit less depending on your market. And what you're doing is it's mid-volume, hopefully. You're selling a medium amount of this at a medium price net-wise. And so that way it's sort of just kind of a stable foundation that your music business has. Every time you drive 100 people into your email list, they're going to go through that sequence and get that core product offer sold to them. And whenever it comes out the other end at the end of the month, you can say, okay, in the last 30 days, 100 people have came into the email list, got pitched that core offer at some point, and we sold enough to basically say $100 came in. So $100 came in from 100 people. That's basically $1 per person in your email list. Now that number can be higher, but that's a real good baseline to try to shoot for. It's just $1 per person from your core offer. But there isn't a rule that says you just have to sell one thing. You can sell more things, and so that can increase that number. But focus on trying to get that core product offer really tidied up. So what is the stuff that you're going to include? Is it just going to be a t-shirt? That's okay. That's a core product, sure. But if it's a t-shirt, then it's got a little mini documentary about the project, and then there's a behind the scenes video of you in the studio writing the next album that's not even released yet. Like, you see how that's a little bit more powerful than just a t-shirt? So, I mean, and those are things that even if they didn't want them, they're not intrusive enough for them to be like if they didn't want those digital downloads and just wanted the t-shirt, it would still be something worth buying for them because it's just digital downloads. They wouldn't have to download it if they didn't want it, and they just get the t-shirt. But you still incentivize it for the people who need that little extra push for them to go, okay, that's a pretty killer offer. I think I want access to that. Okay, I'll do the $27, $47, $67 offer. Yeah, I'll get that. Cool. So that's something to think about for your core product offer. The second offer that you need to know about is your fan club offer. Now, how do you do a fan club as a musician in this sort of modern era? In my opinion, there's a couple of ways to go about it. I think one of the easiest platforms to use is Patreon. I think everyone's kind of familiar with that if you're a musician. And especially if your market is more musician targeted, like you're an instrumentalist and you're targeting other musicians who like that kind of stuff, then it's a little bit easier to get people into Patreon because they know of it, because that's something pretty much all musicians trying to get some revenue in their music business know about. If you're selling to the layman person, that platform is a little less native to them. So there's going to be some friction and resistance for them to go sign up for the platform, and it's probably best if you have the fan club hosted through your website. You can do that by having a Stripe account and then setting up a recurring billing for them, and then because they get that recurring billing, they get access to all this stuff that you can provide on your website and have sort of a special place for all that stuff. There's different softwares you use. I use Elite 360 to help me do all that kind of stuff, but there's tons of other ones as well. So when you think about this, it's recurring revenue. They're paying you $3 a month, $5 a month, $9 a month. You can do a lot of things with this offer where, in fact, you can actually do something that's in the book Influence by Robert Cialdini called the decoy effect, or the decoy offer. So usually this happens when you have 3 tiers of something. So you can have an offer that you really want people to buy, priced at whatever you want to price it at. And then you can have like a really platinum premium option. And then you can kind of have the cheap option, right? So what happens is typically if you put the most of the value in the middle chunk, the middle tier, there's a little bit of value in the small tier, there's a lot of value in the middle tier, and then for just a little bit more value, you get a pretty big price point. They'll see that and they'll go, okay, well, like, I only get a little bit if I do this smaller one, but if I do this, I get all this extra stuff. Do I want the most expensive one? Well, I don't get that much more for the expensive one, so I think I'll just get this middle tier. So our middle tier is at $17. So we have a $9 tier, a $17 tier, and like a $24 tier. So notice one's like over 20, it's like $25 a month basically. They're like, okay, that's a lot. You know, for some people, I had one fan play $35 a month back when we were on Patreon, before we moved it all into our own website. But yeah, that's something to be aware of. Like, people can pay higher amounts than you think usually. But you know, to start off, you may just want to keep it simple and have like a $5 tier, a $10 tier, and like a $20 tier, right? So then the $10 tier looks like the most attractive thing because you'll put the most juicy, kind of sexy, benefit-laden stuff in that tier. And then you'll have some good stuff that even like the more economical fans, the fans who don't want to spend too much, they still get access to some good stuff. But that middle tier is where like all the cool, juicy stuff is at, right? And then the premium stuff, you make sure you have, you know, make it kind of, expansive so that it can justify the price and be prepared to fulfill on that if people start going into that tier. But have it in a way where it's sort of decoyed, where that middle offer is the most attractive offer. And the economics here is it's a small amount of money that you're getting per transaction, but you're trying to get high volume. So if you can get 10 people paying $50 a month, it's $500 a month, right? That's pretty nice. So that's 10 people at $5 a month. I'm sorry, I said 10 people at 50. That's pretty crazy. Like if you did 100 people at $5, that's more of the math example that I wanted to do. But you think of it like that, $5, 100 people, you got $500 a month. I almost did some Dweezil Zappa math for those of you that have seen that interview with Dweezil, where he's like, you know, you get like $2 a month and you get 12,000 people. That's like 60,000 a month. I'm like, whoa, bro. I don't think the math. Man. But anyway, so the fan club is small price, but try to get as many people in there as possible so we have that recurring revenue. So think about this. What's the first milestone that you want to get to? What is the cost of your music business? How much is it for your email service provider, your website, and all your monthly expenses that are directly correlated to your music business? That's the first milestone. So that way your music business pays for itself. Now you can get to that quicker with the combination of a core product offer and the fan club, right? So if you're trying to get to, let's say, $500 a month and you've only got 5 people at 50, maybe you can make up for that other gap with how much you sell in the core product offer. You see what I'm saying? So it doesn't have to just be, 100% of each of the goals at each offer. You can kind of have the results split amongst them as well. Now, let's move on to the third offer that you need to know, which it's not really one offer, but something that you can do to every offer. It can be its own standalone offer, but it's something that I call upgrades, right? So what is an upgrade? An upgrade could be taking a core product offer or a fan club offer and providing what's called an order bump, something that's just this little impulse buy that they add to their cart at the end of the checkout. So what I used to do is I actually had a one-click upsell. So that means what they do is they pay, they go to the next page, there's a little offer that's like, hey, we got a little extra thing. If you want this, just click this button and it'll add it to your cart. They hit the button, boom, they go to the checkout page. We had a small sample size go through this, and with the upsell page added in there, we not only paid for all of our advertising costs to drive people into this funnel, but we had a 100% conversion rate. Granted, it was a small sample, but we had a 100% conversion rate on the upsell. So the people that bought the $7 offer, literally 100% of them bought the $37 offer. So it was $44 total in gross revenue. That was one of those things where it's like, oh, like if they're in that buying mood and you give them something cool and then give them something even cooler, like they will happily add that to their cart. So having an upgrade, some way that you can increase the average cart value. Sometimes it's even simpler than that. It's just a little thing. They click a button like a checkbox before they hit pay, and it just adds it to their order. Those are order bumps. The one-time offers, the one-click upsells, are usually separate pages that happen after they've hit pay, right? So it's like they hit pay, and then it's like, hey, before you completely finish up with your checkout, here's the thing. And that's the version that we did and got the 100% conversion rate. But it doesn't have to be that. It could be the order bump function as well, depending on what your limitations are with your software and what you have access to. But it's all arithmetic, because you think about it, okay, once I have my core product offer numbers dialed in, I know I'm making like okay, just from selling the core product offer, I'm making $100 for every 100 people that come in, right? Well, what if you can add a $17, $19, $24 bump to the cart so that, one out of every 5 people who buys throws that upsell into their cart? Well, now you wouldn't just be making $100 a person. That would start to, or excuse me, not $100 a person, $1 a person. You would start to increase that to $2 a person, maybe even a little bit more. And you think about it, what's the difference between, $100 and $300? Well, 3x, right? And that's just by adding a little bump in your cart, okay? So that's the idea. That's what an order bump is, and that's an upgrade. Now, the whole point of this is, like I said, it's just math, right? So for every increase in average cart value that you have, what I would recommend is having a spreadsheet. For those of you that are really good with spreadsheets, you're going to kill this stuff. You're going to love it. But I would recommend just having a basic spreadsheet where you can kind of do the math on your offers and start seeing where the net profit and all that sort of stuff is and what you need to charge at. And if I added a $17 upsell, what would that do to the math? It's really cool. It's very enlightening to see on your music business really where the arithmetic works in your favor. And the economics of this is, it could be a small order bump, but upgrades could also be like premium offers, like VIPs to a show. I remember I've sold like $70 VIP tickets to my band show locally, and other bands can sell $100 and stuff. There's ways to increase the average cart value by having these premium offers as well. That would fall into the category of an upgrade, as a premium offer. So think about that. What is something that's kind of on the expensive side that you can have available? No, not every single fan will be able to take it, but you don't offer it so every single fan can take it. You offer it for the people who are willing to take it. You see? Like, I remember that moment where it's like, okay, we can do VIP tickets at our shows. And then we increase the price, and people still bought. And then we increased the price again, and less people bought, but still people bought. And so we're like, oh my gosh, like, people are willing to pay for this on a consistent basis. This is helping increase the revenue that we're bringing to our gigs by like an additional $700 or something. Like, it's pretty nice. So upgrades can be a fantastic way to help basically be like a little boost to your revenue bottom line whenever you figure out how to add these in correctly, okay? Now, the last one, you're actually going to be surprised that I've included in here. Number 4 is royalties. What? Dax, you've talked about how Spotify sucks as a streaming, as a revenue source, and it does in the beginning. That's the thing that we don't really think about, is that, yes, it does suck that the numbers are what they are with royalties on streaming platforms, but think about this. As you do the marketing better and you grow your audience, as you start growing, those little penny royalty checks start to grow too. And they go from being pennies to dollars, and dollars to tens and 20s of dollars. And then they start to turn into hundreds of dollars. And then they start to turn into thousands of dollars. Over time, as you focus on growing your fan base, you will start to build this little royalty foundation as well. So I like to think that the royalties are kind of something that cooks underneath the surface, and then you're actively, basically the royalties are the passive income, and the other offers are the active income. And so you have those kind of things working together. You've got 3 or 4 different kind of active places that you're working, and then the passive income is just kind of building up underneath it. That's the way I would look at royalties. A lot of people think that like royalties are going to be your main source of revenue, and for certain acts it will be, right? For certain acts there isn't, like, how would I put it? I would just say the prime marketplace that their music is most valuable is on streaming platforms. There are some musical situations like that. I actually know someone who's freaking killing it right now on like Spotify and Pandora. So there are ways that royalties can be an absolute banger of a revenue stream. It's just one of the harder ones because the economics of it are small dollars, high volume, and I would even say like huge volume. You got to have a ton of people streaming at this point, 0.0033 cents per stream royalty. But if you can get enough people in there, you know, there's ways to grow, like, you not only your audience, but your Spotify. Some people have different thoughts on it. There's different, like, modes. You know, there's like the marquee and showcase and discovery and all this kind of stuff, right? I think discovery has been shown to be valuable. Marquee and showcase kind of have mixed bag results. I've even seen someone have mixed bag results with the discovery mode. But there's ways to get out there to grow that royalty base. If you know how to use meta ads, there's actually ways to do meta ads where if you do it properly, you can get a return on investment. I know that sounds crazy. I didn't believe that for the longest time until I saw it. And then I was just like, oh, well, now I got to change the belief and like update to what can be actually achieved and try to get that to happen, right? So in my opinion, these are the 4 best revenue streams that you can start to build up inside of your music business. And so what I would do is just start one by one. Build up that core product offer first, get that thing cooking. Then build up another offer like your fan club offer, or maybe even add some upgrades. Then, after all that, hopefully you'll have been building an audience of die-hard loyal listeners that will start to grow your royalty foundation so that you're getting some decent royalty income. Maybe it's, you know, $50 a month in the beginning, but then it starts to grow. It starts to turn into $200 a month. And $200 a month just from royalties, it doesn't sound like a bunch, and it's not very much, but it beats a poke in the eye. I'll tell you that right now. And especially if your music business expenses are, let's say, like $100 to $200 a month, if the royalties are covering that, well, then that's pretty nice as well. All right, well, I hope you got some value from this video. If you did, hit the subscribe button, the like button, all that kind of good YouTube-y stuff. But if you need some help building up these offers, if you need some help building the systems around these offers so that they actually convert and come up with good offers that your fans actually want to buy, and maybe you need some help kind of growing that initial fan base, click the link that's in the description for a free one-on-one call with me so we can see if we can help you grow your music business and start to implement the systems that I've been using with my clients that have got them any kind of result from $500 a month to $1,200 a month to $1,700 a month. I've even had artists on the high side make $2,500, $7,250 in this duration of the program with us. So if that's a good fit for you, we'll find out on the free call. So if that's something that's interesting to you, click that link in the description. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you on another video inside of Musicians Ignite. Take care.